Boom. Yeah, check that out. Hey guys. Oh, wait, that's me. But this is what I'm showing. So, I'm sure a lot of you guys have been seeing this logo and product all over social media. I mean, these guys are huge now. Their products are just blowing up all over the place. But the company is CoilART, and this is their awesome, really comfortable T-shirt and their hat, which you can actually purchase on their website at CoilART.net for apparel. But the only reason why I'm not wearing this is because I wanted to show you the back. It's really cool, actually. There's their website right there and their Instagram, CoilART.net at official CoilArt, and then it says "Discover your flavor" with their logo. Now, one of the products that I've had the esteemed privilege and opportunity to do a review on is their Azeroth RDTA. Now, RDTA, just in layman's term, is just a rebuildable dripping tank atomizer. Basically, it's a dripper that you pretty much build a coil on, put in, but it also has a tank option so that you don't have to constantly drip. I'm telling you right now, I love dripping. I like some tanks, but this right now is like the big go-to that everybody is, well, I won't say everybody, but a lot of people are leaning towards. So now I am going to forewarn you, I am not a builder. I do not build coils very well. I build standard basic setups. So this isn't going to be from a builder's standpoint. This is just a rough opinion review as far as just to the main points of this product, and I'm going to hopefully be able to do this in a short amount of time, put this all together, wick it, and do a vape on it to show you how it hits. But I do want to forewarn you, because I know people are going to be like, well, how do you build on it? How's the building? What type of... I'll be honest with you, I'm not a builder, so I'm not even going to attempt to try to approach this from that route. So that's why I'm not going to do multiple angles and showing this and showing that. That's just not me. If you've watched most of my juice reviews, you know, I try to keep it as simple and as on point as I can. So that's basically, I'm just apologizing for that up front. However, I do have a set of Claptons in the post deck, and this is the post deck for the Azeroth. And these were sent to me by an amazing gentleman over in the UK. His Instagram page is Beau, BEAU _ Spangles, SPANGLES 63 _ TVO. So it's Beau _ Spangles 63 _ TVO. Great guy, really friendly, huge into vaping, an artist when it comes to making coils. So check out his Instagram page and hit him up if you're interested in getting some ordered. It's just, you won't be disappointed. So real fast, this does come shipped in the box like this. Forgive my glare, it's off my computer screen. And basically it comes with the main deck and all the parts for that. It comes with two tips and a 510 adapter. So if you have your own 510 tip or a custom tip that you want to use, there is an adapter for it. Now it does come with two tips. According to their website, one is the 8mm internal diameter. This is the flavor drip tip. And then there's a 12mm internal diameter. This is the cloud drip tip. So as you can see the difference, one is meant for flavor, so there's more focus on it, and then one's for clouds, which is why it's got the wider gap on it. I prefer, you know, I've been using the clouds one. That's the one that I want to go with, so it's just a little bit easier for me in that sense. But as you can see, it does come with a spare glass, comes with a vape band to put around the glass, comes with its own screwdriver for the post deck, and it comes with miscellaneous, it has some extra clamps, bunch of O-rings, and post screws as well. So it does come fully equipped with everything that you need. Quick description overall on the overall product. It is 24mm diameter. It is 54mm overall in height. It does have a 4ml juiced holding tank. It has gold-plated bridge posts, gold-plated clamps. It is made of stainless steel. There is adjustable airflow. It does have a peak insulator. It is a pyrex glass and gold-plated 510 contact points. So I mean, it's very well put together. Like I said, this is the deck here, and as you can see, it does have, I've come to call them the goon clamps because that's what I have associated them first with, but it is posting clamps and not actual posts. So it does give you a much wider range as to what you can put in here because it's not limited by the size of the hole. It's just 2 set clamps that are on there, and they are Phillips heads right there. So real quick, like I said, I'm not going to try to take up a whole lot of time trying to explain all the technical aspects and the building aspects of this because that's not, unfortunately, that's not who I am. So, but this is with the coils put in there. This is what the stand and the clamps will look like as such, like that, and you can see the gold plating on there. So, as I go ahead and make a complete mumble of myself, I'm going to go ahead and wick this up really fast. And unfortunately, again, I don't do a whole lot of edits, so I will wick it and then I will show what it looks like wicked, but this is the product right there with the coils. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on my device that I'm using this for. So as you can see, it will basically stand like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and wick this up really fast. Now, the cotton that I use of choice is Texas Tough Cotton, and it works really well. It's really durable, holds juice really well, and in a device like this, you know, you want something that's going to hold up because it's basically going to be soaking up juice to a point, and it's also going to make it, you know, it's going to have a bit more usage out of it as opposed to a regular dripper, to where you're not gonna you know, you drip on it a little bit, then you vape it out until it's dry. Basically, this is one of those types of products where you're gonna basically build it, wick it, and the wick's gonna stay in the tank, so it's pretty much gonna stay submerged and soaked and saturated with juice pretty much the entire time that you're using it. So you definitely want a cotton that's gonna hold up well, which is why I like the Texas Tough Cotton. So on Instagram, it's Texas Tough Cotton if you are interested and want to check it out. So just bear with me. Now, I do watch a bunch of Vaping Heathens videos, and he did mention, and I'm just going to do a shout out just because, you know, I don't want to act like I know everything, because I don't. You know, I watch a lot of other reviewers and people as well in the industry, and I try to talk to who I can so I can learn, you know, as much as I can. He had mentioned that there are 2 versions of this product. And he noted that the way you can tell is how the collar screws on, and I'll show you that here in a second. I believe I've got the first version because the collar does not screw on 100% lined up with the posts in what would be a convenient fill. And again, I will show you that really as best I can and explain why, what I'm actually referring to when I state that. So I do believe that I've got the first version because of that particular issue right there. So it's not a deal breaker. It's really not. I'm gonna say ahead of time right now, I've been using this thing for a little over a month, and honestly, I have 1 or 2 other ones that are similar to this. I've tried them. I really, really, really like this one. There are a few cons about it that I'm not a fan of, and I will touch them and show you why I don't like them. So right now, it's wicked. Obviously, there is a butt ton of cotton right there, and I know people are going to be like, wow, that is way too much. You don't need that much. You don't. Everybody will wick these differently. There is no set proper way to wick it. There are some that will say, you know, doing it this way is better than not. Doing it this way is better than another way. Everybody has their own style and their own way preference. Now, I know a lot of people that use products similar to this, and they prefer using little to no cotton because they don't want to take up more of the tank than is needed. And basically, when they need to juice up their cotton, they basically just turn the entire thing upside down and let the juice soak into the cotton tips that are sticking into the tank. I don't like doing that. I'm always worried that if I turn it over, I'm going to either dump up all the juice out, or I'm going to drop the device, or, you know, something like that. So I prefer, basically, as some people will put it, is I basically drown my cotton in the juice tank. Does it take up more space than it needs to? Realistically, yes. But with the amount of cotton that I use, it soaks up an extra, I would probably say I probably take up about a mil of juice with just the cotton. So you may look at it as I'm taking away from the tank, but I feel that it helps me. I've never had a dry hit. Even though the tank itself has technically been empty, there's enough juice left in the cotton that I can still keep hitting it, and then I realize I need to refill it, and then I go from there. So again, everybody has their own preference. Everybody has their own vaping style that they prefer. So that is, you know, basically it is what it is, and everybody will find what works best for them. The nice thing I do like about the Azeroth is that there is a huge learning curve with this, as far as it has a wide range to work with, so that, you know, everybody can take the time to find what works best for them. There really isn't one specific way that it only works, and that's everything. So this is my wicking at the way that I do it, and I just make sure that the cotton basically just touches the top of the inner part of the base where the O-rings are. So then I just take my glass, and you slide that over and just push that down, and basically there's enough cotton in there, obviously, that basically having the glass in there pretty much will hold that into place without it basically, you know, moving around, shredding up, anything like that. So, and again, like I said, it looks like a lot of cotton. This is what works for me. So what am I going to use for juice to fill this? Oh, I know what I'm going to do, because I'm going to use a unicorn bottle, because obviously they work best in my opinion. So, where is it? Just bear with me here. So I'm going to go ahead and use Pistachio Crunch from the Good Juice Company. It's a pistachio ice cream, and it works really well, and I like the flavor of it. So now, this is one of those steps that some people will say works for them. Some people will say there's no point in it. Some people will say that it doesn't matter to them. I've tended to discover that it does help. Now, I won't say it's going to help drastically, that it's going to make all the difference in the world. However, I do feel that by doing it, it does help make things a slight bit easier, just to work with, so that you're not fighting with this a whole bunch. And I'll explain, and I'll show you why here in a second. So I'm just going to go ahead, and basically I'm not juicing the entire part of the cotton just yet. I'm pretty much just juicing the point where the cotton will go into where the cotton is in the collar, the cotton hole part. So, and I'm doing that basically because obviously with the cotton being dry, it's all fluffy, it's billowy, and it sticks out farther out. So when you put the collar on and the threading is right there, it tends to block up the threading a bit, and then as you try to thread the collar on, the cotton itself starts to stick to either the inside of the collar, or it just gets in the way, so then it starts messing up and getting caught up in the threading, which makes putting the collar on a lot more difficult and a lot more of a pain. Now, I will say one of the only cons that I really was not happy with on this product was threading the collar onto the device. And the reasoning why is I have yet to have been able to do it, even by juicing it, the cotton. I've yet to have been able to thread the collar on, you know, within 1 or 2 shots. It always takes me a few minutes to do it. Now, I don't know if other people have that issue, if other people have found a trick to it. Like I said, there are a bunch of people out there that have probably longer or better experience with it than I have. And also, I think depending on the version that you get, I believe it's got to make a difference a little bit. But for me, myself, I have used a few other products like this, and the threading on them have been so much easier. But again, maybe it is just me. But as you can see, I've juiced up, and you can see the ring that I did just right around exactly where the cotton basically falls into the channels. So now I'm going to take the collar, which is gold plated like that, and I'm going to place that over top. and wipe off the extra juice that spills out. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to basically just collar or just hand tighten this on. And hopefully, so as you can see, I'm already having a little bit of trouble with it. And some are going to argue, you know, well, it's because you have so much cotton in there. And honestly, if I left the cotton to where it just went into the tank, or if I used as much as I normally do, it's not going to make a difference. There's still the same amount of cotton. So what I've actually tend to started to do, and this was actually a suggestion that I found online. Honestly, I don't remember who specifically had shown it to me, but I've gotten a pick that you can pick up pretty much in any crafts hobby store, but it's a really thin point. And all I do is basically right in here, I just take the pick and I go into the holes where the cotton sits, and I just basically just kind of pop them more into the wicking holes specifically, and try to pull any cotton that might be caught in the threading tracks. So basically right in here, if you can see, this is where the cotton hole will wick. So I just basically just kind of work with it and just make sure and wiggle it around and try to ensure that, you know, all the cotton is more in the wicking channels than not. So, and by doing that, it does tend to make a little bit easier. As you can see right there, basically just popped into place. So now the only other issue, and this is where I was talking about depending on the version. Now, fully tightened or fully hand tightened, it stops right here. Now, as you can tell, that's where it should be dead centered. The filling hole is off center, which basically sits right on top of one of the cotton points. Obviously, trying to fill it like that would be a real impractical usage. So what I do is once it tightens to that point, I'll hand turn it back just slightly so that it lines up with the fill port, so that I can, when I fill this, it fills right in between the two cotton channels, dead center, which is where I believe the version 2 of this, or the newer modified version, I guess you can call it. I guess that's one of the things that they fixed on it, so that when it is fully tightened, it automatically just lines up like that. Now, I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't experienced a whole lot of leaking issues because it's not fully tightened, but it's just loosened enough. But like I said, I tried to keep this, you know, upright as much as possible without messing with it a whole lot. Just in general, that's really, to be honest with you, that's really the only big negative I have with this product. So to me, it's not really much of a deal breaker. I don't look at it as, oh my God, I can't use this at all because of that. That's really the only negative. So I have that lined up right there in between the two cotton ports, and all I do is just take your unicorn bottle, put the nozzle in. You don't want to go too far in, because then you're going to basically be pushing the tip of your nozzle up against the inner shaft post, and then basically you're just going to be spitting juice, because once it catches the dry cotton, it's going to build up, and then it's just going to basically just expand more or fill up more because of air pockets, and then you're just going to get a big gloppy mess come out of it. So if you feel that you're hitting the center shaft, just lift back a little bit, and that gives your nozzle enough room to squeeze juice out. And then basically all it is just filling up the 4 mil tank, which does take a little bit of time the first time you do it, just because the cotton is new, so it does take a second or two for it to start to saturate. But once it does, it fills pretty quickly, because once it has the cotton to basically drink that juice up, it pretty much will take as much as it can possibly take of that 4 mils. So as I go ahead and fill this up, and like I said, you know, the collar not screwing completely all the way super or hand tight and lining up with the fill port is really about the only negative that I have with this device. Other than that, I mean, there's a little thing here and there that I might say could be an issue if you want to nitpick. I'm not one to really try to purposely find something wrong with it if it works well. I know some reviewers try to find things wrong with it, and if not for no other reason other than to help the company, you know, double check a few things, or when they come out with a newer version, or try to update the product that they know what they're looking for. And that's awesome, because that's how things get better, you know, and more enjoyable. But again, me myself, I don't consider myself enough of an expert in it to really be able to nitpick at something and say, like, you know, this is absolutely the worst thing that they could have done with this. There's no reason that they should have done this, type thing like that. So that's just me. So now I have this filled, and with the cotton still starting to soak up all the juice, I'll go up on the top and I'll basically just gently add juice to the top part of the cotton, so that it helps fill it in without having to wait, you know, super long and wait for the cotton to draw up. Now, the first couple of hits on it obviously are going to be a lot drier than the rest of it, because it's still going to take the cotton a little bit to saturate up and catch up. But for the sake of the video and to show you the vape on it, I'll go ahead and just over soak the top, so that at least I know that I'll get a couple of good hits off of it before it dries out. So that is juiced up, tank filled, fresh cotton, set up on the Azeroth. Now for the top part, and this is the only other negative that I have discovered so far. I've been using this for over a month now, and the only other thing that I've noticed, other than the collar having a little threading issue and not fully lining up on the fill hole, is that the collar, the outer collar, and the top cap that your drip tip goes into, I like to leave the airflows fully open. However, from constant use and taking this apart and cleaning it and rinsing it out and everything else, this collar part tends to become harder each time for me to pull out. I mean, it gets to a point where you've got to put some pressure on it. Now, I know people say, well, if you put a little bit of juice on the O-rings, it makes it slide out a little bit. And that does work to a point, but, you know, it's just something else that I noticed as far as just being a little bit of a hindrance or nuisance to a point. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pop my cloud drip tip in there, and that's the 12 millimeter inner diameter one. So it basically looks like this. So holes wide open, and I'm going to go ahead and line up my airflow holes with my coils. And I am vaping this at 85 watts. And this will give you just a rough idea of what the clouds on this thing are. At 85 watts, the Azeroth RDTA. Obviously, I don't want to overdo it, because then the coil, as the cotton, as you can tell, it's going to dry out really quick because it hasn't had enough time to soak up juice from the inner tank. So if I go ahead and re-hit that with some juice, and I do apologize to everybody, the video did tend to take a little bit longer than I'd expected it to, but again, I'm not an expert on these devices, so I'm just trying to give you a more everyday personal point of view on them. Clouds are amazing off this flavor. Even on the cloud tip, I have every flavor that I've put into that Azeroth has just been phenomenal. It has been a great flavor. Clouds are amazing. It's just a solid overall device, in my opinion. It's definitely one of the better options that I feel is out there for this, just for the simplicity of the build. Like I said, I'm not a builder, but posting up on the clamp deck was not as hard as it looks. Other than just the way that the collar has a little trouble screwing on and then not lining up with the fill hole in dead center. Other than that, I mean, it's definitely worth the money. CoilART.net, definitely check them out. You can get the apparel, you can get the RDTA, it's definitely worth the investment if you're looking for something that's going to hit like a dripper, but definitely have the tank to hold up the extra juice. So regardless of anything else, CoilART, thank you guys so very much for allowing me to do the review on this product. This was a huge privilege and opportunity. I'm totally in love with this RDTA, and I'm still going to be using this no matter what. Guys, as always, I'm Token Vaping. I'm here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Definitely check out my juice reviews. There is that red button down here on the click to subscribe. CoilART.net. They're on Instagram and Facebook as well. I believe they're on Twitter and Google+. So definitely give them a check. It is definitely worth the investment. It's definitely worth the time to take a look if you're looking for something different and something that is just going to be rock solid and dependable to use every time you need to use it. So with that, as always, thanks for watching. Vape on, vape strong, and have a good night.